Showing your leprechaun shoes to dodgy men.
I found a communist dodgy friend that's about to assault me.
Things get a bit dodgy. I just cannot be bothered.
All right, let's talk about a word you've probably heard a bunch, especially if you watch British shows, but maybe you're not 100% sure how to use it yourself. We're going to get to the bottom of the word dodgy.
So what does it actually mean? It's one of those words, isn't it? You kind of know what it means when you hear it, but pinning down the exact definition is tough. If you feel that way, you are definitely not alone.
And here's why it's so tricky. Dodgy isn't just a definition you can memorize from a dictionary. It's a gut feeling. It's that little voice in your head that goes, something's not quite right here.
Okay, so let's dig into that. What exactly is that dodgy feeling? Well, if we have to get official for a second, the dictionary will tell you it's an adjective for something that seems unreliable, maybe a little dishonest, or is just plain low quality. And you see, that's a really broad definition, which is exactly why the word is so incredibly useful.
You can usually break that feeling down into three key things. First, there's a little hint of dishonesty. Then, there's a sense of risk. And finally, you've just got a simple question of quality. And a lot of the time, it's actually a mix of all three.
All right, enough with the theory. How does this actually work in the real world? Let's start by talking about people and places.
So you can see how the same word fits completely different situations. A dodgy person? That's someone you can't quite trust. Maybe they make these huge promises that sound way too good to be true, or you ask them a direct question and they just dance around it. That's a dodgy person. And then you have a dodgy place. You know, a dark, deserted alleyway? That's the obvious example. It just feels unsafe, but it could also be a restaurant that just looks a little too dirty. The thing that connects them all, that feeling of unreliability and risk.
But it doesn't stop there. This is where the word gets really flexible, when we start talking about things and situations.
Okay, imagine this. You're walking down the street, and some person offers you a brand new iPhone, still in the plastic wrap, for just $50. What's your first reaction? Your internal alarm bells are probably going crazy, right?
And the perfect, most natural way to describe that situation is to say, yeah, that sounds a bit dodgy. Why? Well, you've got the dishonesty part. I mean, where do they even get it? Is it stolen? And you've got the risk part. Is it even a real phone? Will it work? It's too good to be true.
But it's not just for these big, suspicious deals. It's such an everyday word. Just think about the tech we all use and rely on all the time.
Oh, this is a classic one we've all experienced. Your Wi-Fi. It keeps disconnecting. When it is connected, it's so slow you can't even load a web page. Now, you wouldn't call your Wi-Fi dishonest, would you? No. You just say you have dodgy Wi-Fi. And in this case, it's all about that low quality and that complete unreliability.
And the list just keeps going. A car that makes a weird noise and you're not sure it'll start tomorrow? That's a dodgy car. Sushi from a buffet that's been sitting out for hours? Yeah, that is definitely dodgy food. And that email that says you've won the lottery and just need to provide your bank details? That is the dodgiest thing ever. See? It's always about those potential bad outcomes.
Okay, so for this last part, let's really level up your understanding. We're going to look at the nuance of the word so you can start using it like a pro.
So you might be thinking, what's the real difference between dodgy and, say, shady or sketchy? Well, shady usually implies something more criminal. A shady deal is probably an illegal deal. Sketchy is super similar, but we often use it for people or places that just give you the creeps, you know. They feel unsafe. Dodgy is kind of the perfect catch-all. It can mean anything from low quality to unreliable to just a little bit suspicious.
So when you boil it all down, it doesn't matter if we're talking about a person, a gadget, or a whole situation. Dodgy always comes back to one core thing, a fundamental feeling of untrustworthiness. If you get the sense you just can't rely on it, yeah, it's probably dodgy.
You know, there's that old saying, and it really sums this up perfectly. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Well, you can just add, and it's probably dodgy, to the end of that sentence. It's a great little rule to live by.
And that's pretty much it. So I'll leave you with a little something to think about. Now that you know what you're looking for, what's the dodgiest thing you've come across this week? Thanks for tuning in.